Hi, my name is Delaney Slessner-Devlin, and today I'm here in South Hall.
I'm Sarah Marsh. I'm a sophomore, any pronouns, and my co-op was at Gould Farm where I was a therapeutic assistant.
So to start off, what is Gould Farms?
Gould Farm it's basically a assisted living community for people with any psychiatric disorder where they live and work on the farm.
Okay, perfect. And you said that you were a therapeutic assistant. So what did kind of a typical day as a therapeutic assistant look like for you?
Okay, so I usually got up around like 7 in the morning, and then we would start with breakfast where everyone would eat together, and we had a morning meeting where we basically just talk about anything different that was going to happen that day, and we would do appreciations also, just talking about what we appreciated in our lives, and then next we would all go to our work projects. And I was basically there just to like add stability in the lives of the residents. And so, let's see, half of the week I was working on the farm with the animals, and then the other half of the week I was at the garden, and that took up the majority of the day. And then afterwards we would have different groups where it was basically to help the residents learn different things, just give them activities and exposure to just different knowledge that people in the community had. And then we also had basically community meeting like once a week where we just talk about any problems or any new things that were going on. Yeah, so one of the most memorable experiences while I was there was probably when I was in a meeting with some of the other staff members there, and we were on the farm in the barn then, and then about like halfway through, one of the cows there was in labor. And
Okay.
yeah, and one of the farm workers went over and just helped her give birth while we were having this meeting. And that was the first time I'd ever seen an animal give birth, and it was kind of awesome. We named her Maisie, and she was really cute.
That's awesome. Did you guys know that she was pregnant, or was this kind of just like,
no,
oh,
we knew.
okay.
We knew. We just weren't expecting it.
Okay, I definitely had imagined that all of a sudden you see like a cow in labor and you're like, she was pregnant? Like, what the heck? So,
yeah.
No, okay, that's nice. And what was like your favorite workshop to go, or like your favorite activity to do at the Gould Farms?
Let's see. I think it was probably there was an art workshop where we were working on fixing up all the trail signs, because there was like miles of trails on Gould Farm. And so, yeah, we were just fixing those up, and it was really nice.
Can you maybe explain to me a little bit of what the process was of like even like getting to go co-op at Gould Farms? Like, how did you hear about it? Did you have to interview, that sort of thing?
Yeah, so it was on the co-op list, and I had to submit an application, and then I had an initial like phone interview, and then I had a video interview with more people there, and yeah, that was basically it.
So then did you choose this co-op, or did your co-op advisor like share it with you as like, oh, you might be interested in this?
I chose it. It was definitely something that my advisor, Louisa, encouraged.
What attracted you to Gould Farms?
Well, I'm interested in psychology, so it was kind of an obvious choice. But Gould Farm is like, it was one of the first of its kind in terms of like residential living communities for people with psychiatric disorders, and it's been around for like over 100 years. So I was just really interested in the history of it, and I just kind of wanted to learn what it's like to be in that environment that isn't really like the same as just, like either a psychiatric hospital or a therapist office.
What did you not like about your co-op?
I think it can be hard when you're constantly around like all the people you work with and all the residents of the community. I was working from about like 8 to maybe 4 or 5 each day, but then also in addition to that, anytime I had off was basically around those other people, which can be hard. I think especially in that kind of community to remember that you constantly have to have those boundaries kind of where you still are like a staff member.
No, I think that makes sense. Did you struggle with that, or was it kind of like once you realized that it was pretty straightforward?
I think I wouldn't say I struggled with it, but it was never like easy. I feel like I was always having to like think about it, and it was always like in the front of my mind. I really liked the mindset of having like a more self-sustaining community, which I hadn't really experienced before, but they grew a lot of their own food there, and it was like maybe I want to say it was like 40 acres, the whole land, and so for the majority, like people didn't really leave, which was nice, but it was also kind of difficult to just be in the same place all the time.
I definitely get that, because where is Gould Farms?
It's in Monterey, Massachusetts. Yeah.
Middle of nowhere, Massachusetts, it sounds like.
Yeah.
So how did you cope with like loneliness, or potentially like the repetition of having the same people around you all the time? Like, what did you do to kind of get out of that rut?
Mm-hmm. I think it's really important to one, like keep in steady contact with like people from back home and make sure that you're communicating with them. And then also to something that I found really comforting was, forming friendships with the other volunteers there, because we were kind of on the same level where we weren't like really staff members, but we also weren't residents. And they also tended to be like around my age, so that was nice.
Good, nice. Do you have any advice for yourself that you wish that you could have like heard before you went, or that you would tell to someone else who might be co-oping at Gould Farms?
I think I would just say to just not stress about it so much. I think it's like not just really a job like a co-op, it's kind of a way of life that they have there. And if you keep that in mind, it's kind of just like a great experience to have, and it's not so much like a job. It's just it introduces you to a whole new way of like thinking.
Is there anything else that like about this experience that you wish that people had known, that you could like tell people about?
Definitely, if you're into psychology, I would recommend it. It's something that really opened my mind up to the different possibilities of what like psychiatric care can look like when it's not, just the same thing that we're used to seeing. Because I think something that Antioch is really, into is just like different way of looking at things, but psychology, like as a science, is kind of more strict about that, and you're not necessarily going to be introduced so much to things that are different treatment methods unless you're looking for it. And so I would say that you should look for it.
And so would you say that your experience at Gould Farms is going to affect like what your degree is, or like the classes you're going to take?
I think so. I think it'll definitely change the way that I want to approach psychology. I don't think that I could necessarily see myself doing the same kind of traditional job that I thought I was interested in. And since I've gotten back, I've been more interested in like incorporating different disciplines and kind of looking into how different societal structures affect people's mental health. So something that I really took from this experience was that I think you kind of end up in places that you don't really expect, with opportunities that you don't expect. And I would just recommend that you take those opportunities as they come. Like I went and I just totally expected to be more immersed in like the treatment and things like that. And then I ended up sort of like, I learned how to make cheese.
Not what you expected for your co-op.
That's not what I expected, but like that wasn't necessarily something I would seek out. And now that's just a skill that I have. And I think that's really valuable to just be willing to say, yeah, I will try that, you know?
I love that. No, I think that's like a perfect note to end on. I love that. Thank you.